Hello, fellow beings of light, and welcome to episode 19 of our podcast. You know, it's hard to believe, but the last one of our spring theme episodes and activations was 4 weeks ago. And today's me, it kind of wants to have a laugh with 4 weeks ago me, because back then I was saying spring had been a roller coaster already in terms of everything coming through. And in the 4 weeks since then, what has been coming through for me makes what was coming through back then look like a child-sized roller coaster. I'm not complaining, though. I am beyond grateful and beyond excited for what has been coming through over the last 4 weeks in general, and through sessions with fellow channels and soul integrators, for the expansion and upgrades that have flowed from that, the puzzle pieces that have slipped into place, and for the break to allow my human self to both receive and integrate it all, and also just spend some time being human for a bit. I am truly grateful for all of that and excited for the journey that lies ahead. Not just for myself, but for Blueprint Reclamation Project, and for both those who have been following along with me and those that haven't. Because there's a lot of shifts coming, and they are going to be massive, game-changing. Whew. I can feel the truth of that, the tingles, the buzzing. Okay, first things first. Today's episode marks yet another first in a string of them since we began our spring themes in March. This time around, it is our podcast and accompanying activation being combined into one video. There is a very special reason I am being called to do that, and we will get to that later on. But now we do a recap of the first 2 pairs of episodes and activations in this first half of spring series, and perhaps even further back, if I'm being honest. You know, more like story time, actually, because I will be adding to what we have already been discussing, filling in some blanks for myself and all of you with what has been coming through over the last 4 weeks and what is coming through right now, today, as well as sharing some of what has been coming in since way back at the start of the year and beyond that wasn't quite ready to be shared yet. So let's go ahead and settle in and get comfortable. Call in all of our inner children to join us in this story circle. Maybe even hit pause and grab some popcorn, because you might just find some of this popcorn worthy. Okay, dropping in. Let's do story time. Over the last 2 sets of theme podcasts and activations, we laid an essential foundation. We delved into the original blueprint of separation and creation. Source separating itself into the divine feminine and the divine masculine, opposing extremes along the same frequency with source at the center balance point, a single axis. We delved into that original instance of the illusion that is duality, the illusion that we are separate from each other, sovereign, and the original instance of the counter illusion that is polarity. The illusion that was supposed to remind us that, although on opposing extremes, we are always one. We are always united along that same frequency. Let's call it the Z-axis. Here's where I'm going to start to shake things up a bit. Add to the truth of what I have already shared. From that illusion of duality, the divine feminine and the divine masculine created, separated beyond themselves for the first time into 12 archangels, 12 rays, 6 feminine and 6 masculine, who would, in turn, create and separate beyond themselves into the feminine Andromeda and the masculine Lyra races, and so on into further races galactically. With each creation, each separation, the illusion that is duality was seen less and less as an illusion and more like reality. A growing divide between the feminine and masculine that stretched and altered the original blueprint of separation and creation. It stretched it so far that it became 2 separate frequencies, each with their own separate opposing extremes, and each with source at their center balance point. One, the divine masculine, and the other, the divine feminine. 2 separate frequencies that crossed each other at source, but were no longer connected as one. 2 axes, an X and a Y, a distorted version of the original blueprint of separation and creation. The effect of this, it meant that the seesaw example we used in those 2 sets of episodes and activations to explain the illusion of duality and the counter illusion of polarity, it no longer worked. The divine feminine couldn't pull the divine masculine back up when the frequency shifted too far in his direction, became too dense, lowering him below her, and vice versa. The divine masculine couldn't pull the divine feminine back up when the frequency shifted too far in her direction, became too dense, lowered her below him. They could no longer achieve balance between the illusion of duality, sovereignty, and the counter illusion of polarity, unity. In response, the divine feminine and the divine masculine attempted to repair this divide. They created, separated beyond themselves a second time into a 13th archangel and 13th ray that was neutral, that contained all of the prior 12 rays, into Archangel Christiel, a galactic anchor, a living embodiment of unity, a vault holding the original undistorted blueprint of separation and creation that was to rise up from source at the center balance point and pull the divided X and Y axes back up into a single Z-axis again. That's not what happened, though. The divide between them had grown too wide, the density too heavy, and growing more and more so with each new race and each new member of all of the races created. Christiel was able to create a bridge between them, to fill the spaces between the X and Y axes with unity, the law of one, to shift some perceptions, but not pull them back up. What was once the original blueprint of separation and creation that contained a single line and axis that became distorted into two separate lines and axes was now further distorted into a pyramid, a 3D pyramid. The seesaw wasn't working, and now the pulley wasn't working. And the divine feminine and the divine masculine once again attempted to repair the divide. They created, separated beyond themselves, a third time into a second set of 12 archangels, 12 rays, 6 feminine and 6 masculine, who were, in turn, intended to collect pieces from all of the galactic races, then both separate and merge them all together to create Earth and a human race, a united race that would ripple unity throughout the universe. At the same time, because they learned from their prior mistake, they also created an additional 13th archangel and 13th ray that was neutral, that contained all of the prior 12 rays. Archangel Sophiel, an earthbound anchor, a living embodiment of sovereignty, counterpart to Christiel and the galactic anchor of unity, and a vault holding a new, undistorted, and upgraded blueprint of separation and creation that she was the architect of. A new blueprint in which she and Christiel were located on opposing extremes along the same frequency with Source at the center balance point. A single vertical axis containing all 12 of the formerly separated rays, a reformed and recreated Z-axis. A new blueprint in which the pair would create a bridge between themselves and the separated X and Y axes located in the middle between them, pulling them both in from the top and bottom, reconnecting them with each other at source, while still allowing them to remain two sovereign axes, X and Y. A new blueprint in which the pair would fill the space between them all with a balance of unity and sovereignty, allowing both to coexist at the same time. No longer an illusion and counter-illusion, but reality. No longer duality and polarity, but true sovereignty and unity. Allowing for a return to oneness. And what does this new, undistorted, and upgraded blueprint of separation and creation look like? What do we get when we connect two 3D pyramids at their bases? A 3D diamond. Now, you're probably scratching your head and thinking to yourself, but Jessa, haven't you been telling us for months that what exists right now, our blueprint, isn't working? Yes, I have. And that is because it is still not working. In millions, billions of years since that third separation, that third attempt at getting it right, we have not restored balance between sovereignty and unity. We have not returned to oneness. Why not? It wasn't because the new and upgraded blueprint created by Sophiel was flawed as well. It wasn't because the effect of it and Earth and the human race below on it was the same as the original blueprint of separation and creation and the galactic races above, creating distortion. No, neither of those things are true. Instead, it was because the new, undistorted, and upgraded blueprint for separation and creation was never put into effect. Earth was not seeded with it. The human race was not seeded with it. They were instead seeded with the original distorted blueprint for separation and creation. That 3D pyramid of division and density that was not working above and would never work below either. Why? Because of fear and mistrust. Because of perceived judgment and ego. The original set of 12 archangels saw the second set and the new, undistorted, and upgraded blueprint as a threat, as themselves and the races they created being judged as wrong and needing to be replaced. The original set of 12 archangels didn't trust the second set and the new, undistorted, and upgraded blueprint, the coming below that would be created from them to share their success with above, with them and the races they created. Neither was the case or the truth, but they had been operating under the illusion of separation and the density of distortion for far too long to see that. And when the Divine Mother and the Divine Father entrusted them with the raising and mentoring of the second set of archangels, with the task of helping them to develop and prepare for Earth and the human race, with the task of uniting what had been separated, they took matters into their own hands. They turned Earth and the human race into nothing more than an experiment, one that they could influence and control. They seeded Earth and the human race with the original distorted blueprint instead of the new, undistorted, and upgraded one. They ensured the second set of archangels and all other galactic beings who volunteered to separate into soul aspects for the experiment along with them were placed in a state of inertia, frozen in time, conscious, but unable to communicate with those above, to tell them that something was wrong, to share with them any success. They attempted to freeze and keep Sophiel, the vault holding the new and upgraded blueprint above, as a tool to utilize after below failed as above had, as a failsafe that would allow them to step in, repair things themselves, and get credit for correcting the separation themselves. I say attempted because they failed when it came to that last part. Dissenters among the original 12 archangels separated Sophiel along with the others and sent her soul aspects and pieces of that new, undistorted, and upgraded blueprint of separation and creation to Earth. They gave us an opportunity, a chance. And because of this, what the majority of the original 12 archangels intended, well, once again, that's not what happened. That's not how things played out. Or rather, how they're playing out. But the details of all that are a story for another day. One of many that will be shared through my book, The Truth and the Call, and through our upcoming database, the Reconvergence Lexicon. I've shared enough today. Enough for you to be able to understand why things have gone wrong, why they are not working, and why they will continue to not work if things do not change. If we do not free ourselves of the label of experiment. If we do not free ourselves of the distortion and density of what we were seeded with, the original distorted blueprint of separation and creation, and regrid with the new, undistorted, and upgraded one. If we don't step up and unite what was separated as was intended for us, if we don't step into our purpose as the human race, as a combination of all galactic races in one. Now, I'm sure you have questions, like, how do I know all of this? Is it the truth or more distortion? And how is everything not working something to celebrate? Because, yeah, you were told that this would be an episode of celebration. It still is. There's a lot to celebrate, and we will get to that, I promise. The other questions, though. How do I know all of this? How have I received so much? Many of you have been tagging along with my 6 degrees of soul separation journey through the alternating weeks of this podcast, and know that I have been working with and working towards reconverging with my 5 fellow soul aspects to separate from my galactic monad and my light body, the aura, who is the inert form of our separated galactic monad. Through those ongoing episodes and that journey, as well as the 3 sessions with 3 different fellow channels and soul integrators that I've had over the last month, I have been able to receive and confirm that my galactic monad is Archangel Sophiel, and that through her, I hold the 13th Archangel, the 13th ray containing the other 12, that I hold and am the living embodiment of sovereignty, a vault holding a piece of the new, undistorted, and upgraded blueprint she created. I have been able to reconverge my soul aspect with the other 5 that separated from her, to reclaim the other 5 pieces of that blueprint. I have been able to reawaken her from her inert light body state, making her the first monad to do so, despite the interference of the original archangels. Hopefully, the first of many to come. And I have been able to step into our oversoul, the Archangel Sophiel oversoul, so that we can begin fulfilling our united purpose, our united missions of uniting what was separated, of seeding Earth and the human race with the new, undistorted, and upgraded blueprint. Some of what I have received, have shared, and will continue to share comes directly from her, from Sophiel, from her records, from our connection and relationship with each other. Other parts have come from the ever-growing and, let's call it, evolving members of my team. I say evolving because it turns out a lot of them are members of the original 12 Archangels, as well as the 13th, if you want to count Sophiel's counterpart and our twin flame. Not to worry, though. Original Archangels that are on our side. If I'm being honest, those realizations have been a struggle to accept, to understand that my team that has asked me to let go and trust them and the universe more times than anyone could ever possibly count. They withheld their identity and all of this information from me. Not to hurt me or mislead me, I get that, but for a greater purpose, until I was ready, until we all were ready. But I'm getting there. My human, emotional body and mental body is still a little raw, but I accept it. And as I said, I understand it. And I have been rebuilding my relationships with them and expanding into all that they are now sharing with me. The most important of those relationships for me and for this purpose and mission I am being called to are our Andromedan grandmother, who came to me as Glora. She is Archangel Aurora, personified in Maat. And our Lyran grandfather, who, unbeknownst to me, came to me as an unknown shaman, an unnamed one, over and over again, is Archangel Raphael, personified in Thoth. Together, they are furthest back in the line of grandmothers and grandfathers for my monad, Archangel Sophiel. Then there is Isis, who is now giving me repeated I told you so looks after all the accusations of interference in my journey and the whole Sophiel being separated and sent to Earth thing that I have directed her way over the last year. She is Archangel Heniel, personified in, of course, Isis, and my water spirit / truth and Akashic Records guide, who has been known to me as Hades. He is Archangel Metatron, personified in Osiris. I have received much from all of my team, but these 4, they have been the catalyst for the vast amount of knowledge I have received, the records I have been able to access, and the vaults and libraries I have been able to unlock and add to the archives of my own Temple of the Third Breath, which most recently was the Seraphic records and the deepest vaults of the Sacred Order of the White Flame, which holds the original blueprint of separation and creation and is accessible only to pure beings. Not only that, they, along with the 3 channels and integrators I have had sessions with, have been the catalysts for me reclaiming my soul aspect, reclaiming our light body, Leora, and our monad, Sophiel, reclaiming our purpose and missions, and reclaiming my archangel wings, which, by the way, are detectors of truth, harmony, and symmetry. So that would be the answer to how I know what I've shared here today is the truth. I can feel it throughout each energetic and angelic feather, throughout my entire body. I know it with certainty. Which brings us to how, after everything I have shared, all the truth bombs I dropped throughout our story time, how I can still call this an episode of celebration. I believe I called it a celebration of us and all the expansion we are experiencing in my last sign-off before taking my break from recording. I know it might be hard to see it at the moment, but it is a celebration of that. And now I am realizing it is a celebration of so much more. We have received the undistorted mechanics of how things were intended to work when it comes to the original blueprint of separation and creation, with the aid of our inner children, that seesaw. And now we have received the undistorted mechanics of how that blueprint got distorted, why it is not working. Not only that, we have received the new, undistorted, and upgraded blueprint that will replace it, and the undistorted truth of Earth and us as the human race. What our true purpose is, what was always intended for us, what need only be remembered and reclaimed to initiate the return to oneness through balancing, sovereignty, and unity. We have received the undistorted mechanics of how we are to reconverge, unite versions, aspects, and pieces of ourselves all the way through to our monads without losing the sovereignty of each, through the infinity symbol, with the aid of Archangel Raphael, aka Toph. You've hung in there with me for all of that and expanded through it already, or will, in the coming days, weeks, and months. And more importantly, I've received that I am not alone in receiving all that I've shared with you today and in the episodes and activations that have come before this one. I am not alone in receiving and sharing the truths that will aid us in breaking free from distortion. I am not alone in making a shift towards stepping into and embodying these truths and mechanics. Our purpose as a planet and a race, and as soul aspects here on Earth right now. Many below and an expanding number above are beginning to receive the truth, beginning to receive the call to the shifts and reclamation that are to come. They have been for a while, some realizing it and some not, many receiving it through a lens of distortion, misdirection, and misperception, and a small but growing number free of it. The shift has begun. The reclamation has begun. We as humans have been expanding and upgrading in higher and higher numbers, raising our individual and collective frequencies. We are ready to begin receiving the truth, ready to release distortions, misdirections, and misperception. We are ready to begin reclaiming Earth as more than just some experiment to step into and embody humans as a race that stands equal amongst the other galactic races. We are ready to step into and embody our intended purpose, to balance sovereignty with unity, to unite that which has been separated, and to restore oneness for not just ourselves below, but for all above as well. We are ready to step into and embody ourselves as sovereign beings of light, both independent of and united with our galactic monads at the same time, to recognize that our soul aspects and the human race will continue living on Earth long after all inert light bodies are reconverged and reawakened, that we all aren't going to just disappear from existence one by one as they are until Earth is empty. And with the reconvergence and reawakening of Sophiel, with the pieces of the new, undistorted, and upgraded blueprint of separation and creation that she holds, that I now hold, now put back together again, we are ready to set the mechanics of it into motion, to regrid and reseed Earth and the human race with it, so it can do what it was intended to do, so that we, as a human race, can do what we were intended to do. Now, I don't know about all of you, but all of that sounds to me like it's worth celebrating, that we have gotten to this point, that we are ready, that we are remembering and reclaiming all that we ever needed to in order to fulfill our true purpose. So let's celebrate that right here, right now. I receive and declare that 2025 and 2026 will usher in a magnitude of remembrance and reclamation unseen before. That it will be an initiation into the shifts forward, into the return to oneness, into stepping into and embodying the truths that are and will be remembered, and the mechanics and more of what is and what will be reclaimed. I receive and declare that 2025 and 2026 will be the year that we release the distortion, misdirection, and misperception of the so-called new earth that has been coming for how long now? The new earth that is meant to be birthed from our label as an experiment, from the distortion of that experiment and the distorted blueprint earth and humans have been wrongly seated with. True oneness will never come from that. It will never work. That 2025 and 2026 will be the year that we step into and embody the shift that will be the reclaimed earth. An earth that is reclaimed by a sovereign galactic race, the human race. An earth that is reclaimed by regridding and reseeding the original distorted blueprint throughout it with the new, undistorted, and upgraded blueprint that was always intended for it. An earth that is reclaimed by stepping into and embodying its true purpose, to unite what was separated, to bring about the return to oneness. I receive and declare that 2025 and 2026 will be the year that we release the distortion, misdirection, and misperception of the so-called ascension process. The vertical ladder we are told and taught that we have to climb to achieve higher densities and consciousness levels, that we have to climb to merge back into our light bodies and into our monads. And what? Disappear from Earth? Get raptured away back to our galactic origin point, eventually leaving behind an empty shell of a planet. I said it earlier, if you caught it, and I'll say it again now. No, that is not how it works. That is not what will happen. And true oneness with ourselves and with our light bodies, and through them, our monads, will never come from climbing some ladder. It will not work. Or rather, it is not necessary. And I say this as a soul aspect that has achieved ninth density and consciousness without having to go through and master every single level that comes between 4 and 9? Believe me, I haven't. And I won't unless I'm guided to. I have my lane, my purpose, my missions, my unique frequency that lies at the ninth density and consciousness. And I trust in them and that I have all that I need to fulfill them without having to seek more beyond them, without having to delve into the lanes of others. I say this as a soul aspect that has been connected with and developing a relationship with my light body since back in October. I mean, you guys have all been following along with those podcast episodes. Back in October, well before I stepped into and began embodying my frequency, my density, my consciousness to what it is today, to what it was always meant to be. I say this as a soul aspect that has reconverged with and reconnected with my monad, Archangel Sophiel, and is, guess what? Still right here talking to you, sitting in this chair, sharing with you. 2025 and 2026 will be the year that we step into and embody the shift that will be us reclaiming not only ourselves as a race equal with those above, but reclaiming our soul aspects as sovereign beings of light, apart from our fellow soul aspects, light bodies and monads. The year that we remember and recognize that the 4th to 9th densities and consciousness fragments are a horizontal line along the astral plane created when Earth and humans became. A horizontal line that we can work with out of order, that we can pick and choose from instead of a vertical ladder that we have to climb. The year that we begin reconnecting with and reconverging with our fellow soul aspects, light bodies and monads, without the old perceptions and distortions of hoops and limitations standing in our way, because we can. I sit here right now knowing all that I've experienced, all that I've helped others achieve in their journeys. And I am telling you that I can aid anyone who is open and ready and willing to begin doing so right now, regardless of where you are at in your personal journey. I receive and declare that 2025, 2026 will be the year that we release the distortion, misdirection, and misperception when it comes to so much more, that we begin stepping into and embodying so much more than I can ever even begin to share here, more than I or any of us have even begun to fully receive yet, because there is so much more. The time is now. I receive and declare that we are ready. Go ahead and repeat after me. We are ready. We are ready. We are ready. Because we are. I can feel the truth of those words running through me. And I hope that all of you can as well. Not only that, but that you can be open and willing to receive that which you are ready for, that we are all ready for, because it is coming. And let us not only celebrate all of that, but begin stepping into it, into what is to come. Begin embodying what we are and will be, remembering and reclaiming right now, today, with a little help from the original Archangels that have, or I'm looking at all of you, are ready and willing to now support us in doing so. And a little help from the second wave of Archangels, and of course, with a little help from Christiel and Sophiel, our anchors of unity and sovereignty, our bridge to restoring balance between the two, our way back to oneness. I ask any and all of them to step forward now, to join us in a calibration that will prepare us all for the remembrance, reclamation, and embodiment to come, in an activation of all that has been shared and received today, in an initiation into what will unfold from it, and in an integration of that which you are ready to begin stepping into and embodying now. Ari, 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 Aru, 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 Hare, Sola, Ari, Solama, Karkatia, Are, Usa, Aliusa, Aliusa, Ariusa, Rabakash, Kurush, Katakatia, Argadish, Katakush, Katakatis, Katakush, Katakatis, Katakatia, Areia, Areia, Abracadi, Ushara, Rushada, Arushtara, Garas, Katakata, Katagush, Katakati. Ushadakadabukat Ashkataki, Ushkatakatika, Agayush Katakatas, Katakurosh, Katakakiska, Agawush Katakatis, 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 Katakati, Arish Ushadabakarash Kurosh, Katakatis, Katakurosh, Katakate, Ari, Usharaki, Ukaraki, Ukaraki, Karu, Ari, Ushadaka, Ari, 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 Shu, Ari, Shu, Ari, Agadi, Ari, 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 Agarish, whoosh, Katakatea, Agarish, whoosh, Katakadis, Katawoosh, Katakates, Katakatia, Arish, whoosh, Tapkadish, whoosh, Katakatea, Argare, whoosh, Atakatia, Are, Are, Usha, Riusha, Resharabu, Gariusha, Karash, Katakatia, Ariusha, Bakash, Katikua. Arish, Katakati, Arkadish, Krush, Katakati, Arish, Katakatis, Katakati, Arish, Wush, Katakatis, Katakatia, Arish, Katakatis, Krush, Katakatia, Arish, Katakatia, Arkadi, Wush, Katakatia, Arkadi, Wush, Katakatis, Katakatiska, Katakatiska, Takatiska, Area, Alawu, Salarea, Area, was Sale, Ari was Salarea, Araria, Area, Regulshare, Awusharakara, Arusharakata, Ari Wursharakata, Aria Shuma, Aragishush Karakatiska, Arakiris Katakarush Katakatia, Arakadi, 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 Arigiri Shus Arakate, Kari Usharakade Skadakit Worskadakati, a Kare Rish Usharavakashada, Kati 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 Kiti Kati Kari Kari Yeti Kurish Katakati Skadakati Skadakati, a Kiria Katakiriua, Arakiri Skara, Ariu Salavaga, Ari. Arishush Karabaka, Akaresh Katakatia, Atakiush Kates Kush Katakatia, Amari, Atikush Katakatea, Akari, Ari, Urshadakatia, Area. Arewa, Akareya, Rios, Adakatea, Adakirish, Katakos, Katakatis, Akadia, Rish, Kodosh, Katakadosh, Katakatia, Akari, Wursh, Katakades, Katakadosh, Kakadish, Kadawursh, Katakatia, Gare, Agari, Wursh, Katakati, Horus, Katakabagash, Katakatia. Hari, wo, Sarabagash, Kurgurush, Katakate, Agari, Ari, Urshara, Karaursh, Kata, Arush, Katakarush, Katakati, Arkati, Skuska, Agaris, Katakush, Katakatis, Katakati, Akati, Wush, Katakate. Array, Wursh, Karas, Kurgush, Kakate, Agare, Rish, Wush, Ramakash, Wush, Katakate, Ari, Rush, Katakati, Akati, Wush, Katakati, Rup, Ari, Wush, Katakati, Rup, Ri, Urush, Rup, Risha, the Kadis, Kadakrush, Kadakatea, Kadia, Akadia, Rish, Wush, Kadakatea, Akadia, Squish, Kadakatis, Kadakarush, Kadakatea, Arish, Kadakris, Kadush, Kadakatea, Skade, Arihash, Kadate, Arish, Kadakosh, Kadate, Riush, Kadakash, Kadakatea. Aria Sula Arario Sadabakoya Arayo So Garia Aria Rusha Reusha Gedi Arios Sadakate Arios Sadakarusha Arade Sura Sala Arish was Sadakaris Katakuria Aria Agadi Roy Haria Agadi was Sharagari Hari was Atakate Agadi Shoshanamagash Katakate Area Rosa Areu Saraba Alade Sulama Alai Shulara Agri Ria, Kadi, Rusada, Adeyosh, Gadagades, Gadosh, Gadagadea, Gadosh, Gadagades, Gadagosh, Gadagadish, Gosh, Gadagadea, Garis, Gadokoya, Akuya, Aria, Arius, Asas, Gadagaduska, Argaruska, Argrea, Aria, Roya, Aristara, Sadakadea, Arai, Sharamos, Gadagade, Arai, Shararis, Gadagoya, Arioya, Goya. Aroya, Goya, Gadish, Gus, Gadigis, Gadawoo, whoop, 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 Rish, Adagosh, Gadigis, whoop, 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 Arishala, Alaishala, Alishwash, Adabakash, Kodakash, Gadagis, Kodush, Gadagis, Kodush, Gadagis, Gadagadi, Aliush, Gadagis, Kadagosh, Gadagis, Kadagosh, Gadagadi, Argadish, Kadagosh, Gadagis, Gosh, Gadagis, Kadagosh, Gadagis, Gadagadi, Arius, Arakadia, Arakadis, Gos, Katakadia, Arakadea, Agorish, Katakadia, Arakadish, Korish, Karakadash, Katakadia, Arkadia, Ararush, Arayush, Rualama Argaria Salamaka Tagarisha Ishalaria Rusaramagosh Kadadea Arayu Sharabagos Kadakadea Kadea Agariu Sharakadi Agari Sharabawosh Kadakadia Agadi Wush Kadakadi Agadi Gudi Wush Kadakadi Agadi Wush Kadakadi Wush Kadakadi Kadish Wush Kadakadi Ari Oh, Shadaka, oh, Shadakari, Akiri, Shush, Karakadis, Kadakati, Aki, oh, Sadakaragosh, Kadakatas, Kadakati, Akadagosh, Kadakatis, Kadakagosh, Kadakatis, Kadakati, Araya, Akadish, Kadakagosh, Kadakash, Kadakatis, Kadakati, Akadish, Shadabakash, Gosh, Kadakata, Arkarosh, Kadakata. Karash Karakata, Arish Arakada, Arish Wosharakash Katakati, Arakarash Katakush Katakatis Katakush Katakatis Katakat, Katikati Kush Katakatis Katakati, Aria, Aregoshara, Aregi, Arwood Saraka, Argewusharaka, Ararea, Agerewusharakate, Algarea, Kurish, Karakarishka, Ari, Rusarare, Ari Sharate. Array whoosh at a gosh, a caddy, yasharakate, a riki, swoosh, the catas, the course, the caddy, wish at the cadea, a cadea, grusha, a re, wish at a bosh, catacate, a riki, shorish, catabakash, catapush, catacate. Akadi Ari Urshadaka Ari Shusharamaka Shkirkadea Ari Aru Ari Aru Ari Aru Are Awua Area Aripusa Aririkara Akariusa Tikedia Arigidi Wush Kitikidis Cruz Kitikidia Agidi Shara. You are ready. Areu Salah. Are. We are ready. Areu Sharakadea. I am ready. Areu Sadakadeosh Kadakate. They are complete. Take a few moments. I'm going to go ahead and be silent and allow the music to continue, to allow both myself and you to let everything received today, everything calibrated, everything activated, and everything integrated today to settle in, because that was a lot. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth, and just allow everything to settle. Allow everything to do whatever it needs to do. Go with the flow of it. Thank you for joining us for today's episode, activation, celebration, and so much more than that, because it was. If what I've shared, what you have received today, resonates with you, ignites a spark of remembrance and reclamation, initiates a shift within you, I invite you to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, to join in our podcast episodes, activations, and more shared through it, because there is a lot more to come to expand upon what we did today. I invite you to follow us on Instagram as well at Blueprint Reclamation Project. And I, of course, invite you to visit our website, www.blueprintreclamationproject.com, to witness our community beyond this channel, our sacred container, the Temple of the Third Breath, our monthly sovereignty-based and gridding gatherings, and our Third Breath collective membership, which helps support our purpose and missions as well as yours. And it's all getting started this month, which is exciting. Also, to discover our offerings. Remembrance through galactic soul readings that uncover your galactic origin, your soul's purpose, your abilities, and so much more. Realignment through attunements and agreement clearing. Reclamation of past and parallel versions of you and pieces of your soul that were picked up galactically from separation to incarnation through our soul integration sessions and our 3 degrees of timeline separation program for groups. Reconvergence with your light body and monad, as well as the 5 fellow soul aspects to separate from it through our oversoul integration sessions and our 6 degrees of soul separation group program. You know, I'm both sorry and not sorry for the plugs here. It's not something I usually do. And I'm not sorry because they aren't intended as such. They truly are intended as invitations, as the opening of a door, an opportunity for you. If my frequency and what I share and channel resonates somewhere within you, if you are willing and open to step into it and through it, I welcome you and I look forward to it.